D.O.R.F. Yes, it sounds like a budget garden gnome, but instead it's an RTS that hurls everything at you. Land, air, sea, giant tanks, and even some psychic warriors, because who cares about balance when you can have unmitigated chaos? My name is Tom and this is LT Gaming, where we dive into strategy, from deep dive previews to thoughtful breakdowns of the games that actually deserve your time. If you're after strategy content, maybe indie, a bit of humour, no hype, you're in the right place. And today we're taking a look at D.O.R.F. Real-Time Strategic Conflict. A game with a name that sounds like an accident at the keyboard, but underneath is one of the boldest RTS projects I've seen in years. It promises sprawling base building, supply lines that actually matter, and full-scale land, air and sea battles across 3 unique factions. Ambitious? Absolutely. Chaotic? Definitely. So what exactly is D.O.R.F? It's an upcoming real-time strategy game from D.O.R.F team, and that is John Williams and Thomas Van Leef, 2 veteran modders from the Command & Conquer community. These are people who cut their teeth tweaking and expanding one of the most legendary RTS series ever, and now they're building on their own twisted version of future warfare. It's going to be running on the OpenRA engine, which means classic isometric graphics, chunky retro visuals, and the kind of snappy performance old school fans will instantly feel at home with. It's aiming to look and play like a lost 90s RTS, but with a very 2025 sense of excess. There will be 3 playable factions: the crumbling empire, those clinging to the remnants of power with massive war machines, the barbarians who thrive on chaos and brute force, and the New World Order who bring psychic warriors and a weird science to their fight. Each one will play differently, and here's the kicker: you'll be able to capture enemy factories and nick their tech for yourself, meaning it will be possible to roll psychic troops out alongside a super tank out from the same base. Think that it's like dystopia meets scrapyard chic, not clean, not pretty, but gloriously chaotic, and honestly that will be half the charm with this one. At its core, D.O.R.F. runs the classic RTS loop we all know. Gather resources, build your base, churn out units, and hope your economy doesn't collapse mid-battle. Like Command & Conquer, you're juggling oil, ore, and scrap. Raw materials that need refining before they come useful. This is familiar territory. The twist here is that supply lines and transport are going to be central, so it won't just be about stockpiling. Mismanage your logistics and you'll leave your army stranded without fuel. And this is where it leans into some new ground, adding a little bit more brain power to what otherwise would have been a simple resource grind. Coming onto the base building side of the game, we have familiar foundations: factories, refineries, defensive structures, the usual suspects. But unlike a lot of modern RTS games that simplify base building, here the layout is actually going to matter. Buildings will need to be rotated, choke points and lines of fire will matter, and poor design can genuinely mess up your unit flow. And this is a neat little innovation, base building as puzzle solving, not just busy work. Coming on to the unit variety and combat, there will be a combined arms approach, which is tried and true to RTS, land, air and sea units. We see this in Supreme Commander, Red Alert, you name it. But D.O.R.F. is going to dial up the spectacle with psychic warriors, giant multi-turret tanks and zeppelins. So essentially absurd creations that feel like a love letter to RTS excess. Add in trenches, close quarter base assaults, and the ability to capture enemy factories, and you're going to have a system that will turn late game battles into a scrapyard circus of stolen tech. And that is very new, and it could make every match spin out in unpredictable ways, so I like it. Map control, fortification, unit counters, nothing revolutionary on the tactical depth front. It is the bread and butter of RTS. But the added emphasis on logistics and captured tech will shift the focus from pure micromanagement to more long-term planning. It's going to be chaotic, sure, but structure chaos, and this is where D.O.R.F. might carve out its own niche. Quick pause here guys, if you're enjoying this, drop us a like and help get the channel out there. Think of it as expanding your line of sight on the map, and if you want to, subscribe and offer a tribute to the RTS gods. Keep them happy and maybe they'll bless us with a second golden age of this genre. Alright, enough of that, let's get back to it. What makes D.O.R.F exciting for me is how it's striving to balance the old with the new. On the one hand, it's built from that comforting RTS loop that we all know: gather resources, build a sprawling base, churn out units and march across the map. That's Command and Conquer DNA shining through right there. It's not stopping with just the familiar. Supply lines and logistics are going to add teeth to the economy. Base layouts actually influencing outcomes, and factory capture system is going to mean late game battles might spiral into some absolute pandemonium. Stolen tech, mismatched armies. It could be both part nostalgia trip and wild experiment, and that would be a pretty rare mix. But here are my concerns. Is it going to be a little too stuck in the past? The OpenRA engine and chunky isometric graphics will warm the hearts of RTS veterans, myself included. But are they going to win over new players, or just preach to the choir? And while factory capture and logistics are clever twists, are they enough to count as true innovation, or will people write this off as just another retro throwback? And then there is of course balance, or maybe lack thereof. With psychic warriors, zeppelins and mega tanks all duking it out, potential for unmitigated chaos is sky high. Fun? Yes, but if one strategy dominates, the spectacle won't really matter. And finally, weighty and heavy expectations. RTS fans are seeing a revival of this genre, but there is also an edge of desperation for the golden age to once again hit. And that means small projects like this can carry some enormous and maybe unrealistic weight. Can two devs really deliver something that satisfies both the nostalgia crowd and still moves the genre forward? Or are we setting ourselves up for disappointment if it can't quite match the legends it's inspired by? So who is D.O.R.F really for? If you're the kind of player who loves classic RTS loops, resource gathering, chunky bases and the thrill of building an army from scratch, this is going to be right up your street. If you're into spectacle, you're going to get plenty of it here. Psychic troops frying brains, zeppelins raining chaos, giant tanks stomping across the map. And if you've been waiting for a game that's going to treat logistics and supply lines as more than background noise, this could be your new obsession. But if you prefer streamlined, modern RTS with more simplified mechanics, and you're not keen on juggling 3 resources, a convoy system, D.O.R.F might feel more like homework than fun. This is a game leading hard into old school complexity and unapologetically so. Overall, it's a very bold move from 2 passionate developers. D.O.R.F could either carve itself a cult following amongst RTS veterans or stumble under the weight of its own ambition. Either way, it's going to be worth watching and keeping an eye on this game and how it's developing. But what do you guys think? Are you excited for a classic RTS revival with a modern twist? Or does it look a bit too old school or messy for your taste? Or is it just ticking the boxes that games like Tempest Rising have already done? Drop your thoughts below, I really love to hear them. And if you want more grounded previews and strategy coverage, don't forget to subscribe, give the video a like, help us get out there. And until next time, I'll see you then.